Hey guys, Kelly here. So I just actually wanted to do a little video for Bentonville trip number 2, which obviously didn't go awesome because this happened, which I think most of you guys know about. But still, we had some fun, and I figured I'd just kind of let you know what actually happened with this situation and give you a quick recap. So basically, we were super stoked to find a direct flight out of Sanford to XNA. So it was like 2.5 hours, got there Thursday night after work, got food, got ready, and got set for the next day. Woke up and headed on over to Gearhead Outfitters, which is where we've been getting the rental bikes from. So they're awesome there. They have specialized bikes all in the demo fleet. So, you know, e-bike, regular bike, and they're super nice over there. So if you are in that area, go see them for rental bikes. They're awesome. So anyway, we got the bikes. It was beautiful out. It was like 75 degrees, no humidity. And we were like so stoked to ride. So we decided that we were gonna do Collar Mountain the next day, which we hadn't done the last time, and we were going to spend the Friday kind of warming up, getting the feel for the bikes, getting them set up, you know, correctly or whatever, and ride like most of the trails that we'd ridden already, and we kind of knew our way around a little bit. So basically, like in Bentonville, if you've never been there, like there's just trails all over the place. So like there's a greenway, and then there's just trails coming off the greenway everywhere, and you can climb up and you just find like these random spots that are like amazing, and like these jump sections, and it's just like so cool. So you can pretty much float around and like ride stuff and keep finding new trails. It's really cool. So anyway, we, you know, floated around, did some of the stuff we've been doing, got some videos, did some GoPro, and then like halfway through the day, we wanted to head over to a trail, which I later found out from Mr. Tonga, Joe, that the trail is called Mad Hatter. But basically, it's a little bit further towards Bella Vista, but there's a trail that we found it by accident. We were doing like a climbing trail the last time and just randomly going up, and then all of a sudden we look on the right and there's this like super flow trail, like big jumps, like sandy downhill jumps, and big wooden like bridge features, and then massive swooping berms, and we were like, oh my God. So that's where we wanted to go to. So we got there, we climbed to the top, and at the very top, it's kind of funny actually, it's at the end of a cul-de-sac. So like there's literally like people's houses there, and then the start of this like amazing trail. So we got to the top. I looked at Austin, and he's like, maybe let's just, you know, kind of check it out, the first rundown, like make sure the jumps are the same. And there's this bottom section that we hadn't done the last time. He's like, so we'll roll everything. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So off we go. We get into the first section, and we weren't like rolling. Well, he wasn't rolling stuff. So I was getting a little excited too, and, you know, jumping a little bit. But I guess he was really meaning more of the second section that he was gonna roll. So I'm like following suit with him because he's basically sending it at this point. And so we get into the second section, and I'm telling you this story because nobody knows this, but it's pretty funny because obviously this happened day 2. Day 1, the second section, the very last jump is pretty massive, but the kicker is to the right, and then to the left is just like a roller. So Austin's in front of me, and I guess he said slowing because he wanted to look at like the takeoff and like the distance of the jump, which was obviously smart. However, I'm like, I never hear anybody. I'm like constantly in my own little planet. And so I wasn't paying attention at all, and I come flying up behind him, and he'd roll to the top of the kicker and to stop, to look at it, and I'm like in La La Land, whatever, and like, oh, I'm so happy, it's jumps. And freaking just took off in the air. And by the time I realized he'd stopped, it was too late. And I basically caught air. I'm pretty sure I swore. Well, I know I swore, but I'm not gonna swear now. And in mid-air, my left handlebar smashed into his butt, which obviously flipped the bars and sent me Superman over the handlebars and literally down to the bottom of the hill. like, and apparently Austin said that all he heard was me swearing, and then literally looked and saw me Superman down the thing. And I landed hard. I knocked the wind out of myself. And then when I landed on my front, and then I somehow got flipped over. So I had like a huge rip in the shirt here, like 6 rips in the back. I was all bloody down here, all in my armpits. My elbow was bloody, and I jacked my ankle up. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I've just like had this big of a crash on the first day. So I lay there, got my breath, like started to come to, started laughing. Then we were really laughing because I'm like, okay, I'm not that injured. Like my ankle hurt a little bit, but I knew I was fine. And I'm like covered in blood and like clay dirt. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, all right, let's go ride it again. So then we went, and then we did like, I don't know, 3 or 4 more runs, and we got some good GoPro footage on that. And actually, I think on that, one of those runs was the most airtime I've ever gotten. I didn't think I was gonna land, and you can see on the GoPro, I literally landed at the bottom of the transition. But you know, again, I was bloody and tore up, but like no huge deal. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, you know, because I just flew to Bentonville to ride bikes, and then I crashed. So anyway, we rode like a bunch of other trails for the rest of the day, had like an absolute blast. Went over to the Crystal Bridges Museum, which we hadn't been to before, which was super cool. Obviously didn't go inside, but we like scoped out the outside, and it was really beautiful, so worth a trip there too. And then got awesome food in town, which Table Mesa is like a Mexican, and if you go there, you gotta stop in there. It's so freaking good. They have the best portobello mushroom quesadilla. Oh my God, it's amazing. Anyway, so that was day 1, and that was pretty awesome. And then basically day 2 was a little rainy in the morning, and I guess like a really bad storm came through in the night, but we had no idea. So then we got up, and it was like, you know, like I said, a little bit rainy. So we just kind of like hung back and then headed out at like noonish, I guess. We got some lunch or whatever. And then made our way over to Kohler, which we hadn't been to before. So when we got there, it was pretty wet. And the one feature Thunderdome, or Thunder something, was closed, and we were like, fudge. Because like that was like really what we wanted to go and ride, because that's like what you see on the videos. So we went to the top of this path, and then a local guy was like, you know, it rained really bad in the night, so like they closed this stuff down because it just ruins it. And we're like, oh, okay. He's like, but go ride this, you know, do this. So we're like, okay. So we picked a trail that actually started off as a green trail. It did turn into a blue one, but it legit was like a green trail at the beginning, although not green in Florida, like green over there, like it would have been a black in Florida. And so basically off we go, and we're like ripping it. I'm feeling amazing. I felt like I, you know, kind of got the cobwebs out the day before. The bike felt great. Like I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good day. So we were just ripping it through, like climbs, ups and downs, like just having a blast. And there was a little bit of a downhill section, and basically it was a little bit of an S. So like you kind of came out, and then that way, and there was 2 trees right here, but there wasn't trees here, and there wasn't trees on the other side. Like I would love to tell you that there was a super close set of trees that I kind of had to maneuver through, and that's how it happened. No, that wasn't it at all. It was literally 2 trees here and like nothing on this side. But somehow when I came around, I overturned to the trail and like completely misjudged the tree. And I did not clip the tree. I literally ran into that thing. And you're gonna see on the video, you can see like in the middle of the tree. And I ride like elbows out and my hands like way on the end of the bars. Trigger finger for the brakes, but I'm like on the end of my bars. And so obviously that's what, and you know, with my hand smashed into the tree, like into the center of the tree. Obviously that spun the bars this way, and then I flew straight over the bars again. Day number 2, landed like 14 feet down the trail on my side hard, and it was all like rocks and stuff. And I landed, and I didn't even know about this at first. Like it was like that fast. And I was just laying there And Austin said that he heard a noise and he thought, oh no, not again. And basically I was like lying in the dirt and covered in blood, and I'm like, I cannot believe that I've just done that. That was the stupidest crash ever. Like, you know, at least the one the day before was like a mistake and whatever. This was just like terrible judgment and like overturning. It was like ridiculous. And so then I started coming to, and I'm like really mad. I'm like so pissed off, excuse my French. So I'm sitting there on the floor and I'm like thinking I'm gonna get up, and then as I started to move, I got super nauseous, and I'm like, oh man. And I pulled my glove off and my little finger was like twitching, like I had like some like weird twitch disease. And it was all swollen immediately. So I'm like, I think I broke my hand. And the other part was that my knuckle that on this side that's supposed to be back like here was like back here. And I'm like, oh man, that's not good. So anyway, long story short, I went home, showered, or to the hotel, went and then decided to go to the hospital because it was really bad. I couldn't do anything. And they x-rayed it and pulled the knuckle back into place, which was awful. They injected lidocaine in there and then pulled it back, but as soon as he did that, the pain lessened. And then put this splint on there and gave me a boxer's fracture, which is a break in the 5th metacarpal, which is the bone that attaches your finger to your wrist. So that's what I have. I'm the stupidest crash ever. And so the next day I rode around for like 3 hours in the sunshine. It was beautiful, one-handed, and did a bunch of trails. Actually got a PR on Strava, but that's like probably because I never did the trail before, but it was pretty funny. So it wasn't a complete waste. Ate tons of good food in Bentonville, which is like every restaurant's amazing. And then had a really good flight back. And now I'm already on Zwift and, you know, kind of getting back to normal. So I think next weekend I'll try to get out on the road bike, well, the gravel bike, but on the road. I think I'll be okay by then. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire story. So, thank you. And as always, thank you for watching any of my videos. And if you do like them and you have subscribed, I really appreciate it. And if you have comments or suggestions or just want to throw me some flack for crashing into a tree, which was not necessary, please feel free to do so. And the comment section, I will love it. And I hope everybody has a great day. And again, thank you for watching. Take care.
If one crash wasn't enough for today, this will simply be the second.
You definitely can't tell, but it's chunky and steep as
Bleep.
bleep.
All right. Very sketchy.